Have you ever walked through your home and felt heavy? Not because of the weight in your hands, but the quiet, invisible weight of things. Things that once had meaning, but now just sit there, gathering dust, stealing space, and slowly draining your energy. You're not alone. By the time we approach 70, our homes, our safe havens, can quietly transform into storage units of the past. Furniture we don't use, clothes we'll never wear again, forgotten medications, unread mail, unused, kitchen gadgets and sentimental items packed with emotion. All of it adds up. But here's the thing, this isn't just about clutter, it's about the impact it's having on your daily peace of mind, your sense of freedom, and the life you truly want to live. In this video, we're going to walk through 6 specific types of items that might be robbing you of more than just square footage. They could be robbing you of mental clarity, ease, and joy. You'll learn what to release, why it matters, and how a lighter home can lead to a lighter life. No guilt trips, no pressure. Just practical insight, empowering advice, and a refreshing new lens to see your space through. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by your surroundings, or if a part of you knows it's time for a change but doesn't know where to begin, this video will be your gentle yet powerful starting point. So grab a cup of tea, take a breath, and let's begin this journey to reclaim your space and your peace. Let's begin. The number 1 worn out and unused furniture. One of the most significant causes of house clutter is used furniture pieces that have no value to its purpose over time. It's common to collect additional tables, chairs, and cabinet furniture that was helpful in the past, but have since been left unattended in a space that is wasting. It's true that keeping furniture that's not practical or comfortable isn't only a burden on your physical body, but can cause unnecessary stress. Think about that hefty recliner that's on the side that isn't used by anyone, huge dining room table that's never been utilized for a large family get-together in a long time. The dresser with a sticky drawer which frustrate you each attempt to access it. They're not contributing to your daily life. The furniture is just taking up space. With age, excess furniture could cause your house to become more difficult to maneuver, increasing the chance of crashing into objects, falling over them, or feeling overwhelmed with all the clutter. Let's take Frank as an example. He's aged 74 and lived the same home for many years. Over the years, he accumulated furniture, some of which he inherited certain pieces, others purchased, and that were given to him by his friends. At one time, his home was cozy, but when time passed, he noticed that about his home that made it more challenging to clean, and rooms seemed to be more like storage areas rather than relaxing spaces. It was not until his daughter came over and pointed out there were 5 chairs in the living room, with only 2 never used, that he was aware that it was the right time to make an alteration, and he took something daring. He started by tackling the one space and chose to eliminate the things which no longer served an actual purpose, such as the broken chair, with its wobbly leg, and the enormous coffee table, which made moving across the room an arduous task. Getting out, and when clearing each item, there was a sense of relief that was unexpected, and the house felt open, warmer, and most importantly, easy to live in. This is what furniture is all about when you need it. It can be useful and enhance your lifestyle, but when it's nothing other than a burden, it slowly drains your energy and causes your home to seem cluttered. You aren't required to have a room filled with furniture to feel more like home. In fact, less furniture you own, the more you will appreciate the things that remain if you're hanging the furniture that's in no use. Consider, when's the last time you actually utilized this furniture? If you need thought about it, there's a good chance that it's the right time to go through it, since an environment that is easy to maneuver through, clean, and really enjoy is superior to an empty table or chair that takes the space of 2. Clothing aren't worn. At some moment we are all clinging to clothes we don't wear, Maybe an old suit that's not fit over the years, a dress that you purchased to mark a special occasion years ago, or even a stack of t-shirts from the past that lie on your shelves unread in. It is, before turning 70, it's time for you to examine your closet and consider, what do I really need of this? The truth that you have a wardrobe full of clothes that don't fit isn't only cluttering up your space, it's also making it harder for you lifestyle. Your clothes have a way to hold memories of the jacket you wore to a significant occasion, those jeans that you adored but never worn for a long time, even the old pair of shoes in the back of your closet. It's possible to never think of them, but they're sitting there in the closet, occupying space. For a lot of individuals, getting rid of older clothes is like giving up the past. But here's a thing to think about. Your closet needs to reflect your current self and not the person you used to have been. Take Linda, as in when she was 72, she had her closet stuffed with clothing, but she only used the occasional item. She had clothes of the 1980s with jackets, that which she had not touched for decades, and a pair of shoes that looked pretty but caused pain to her feet, each attempt to wear them each day. She would stand before the closet and be frustrated with the variety of options, many of which were not useful anymore. One day she made changes. She took every item from her closet and organized 3 piles. One to store clothes she liked and actually used, another to clothes that didn't fit anymore or were comfortable, and the third to store items to make sure that the last pile proved to be difficult to get rid of, but when she began to let go of items she hadn't used in a long time, it became clear that instead of losing nothing, but improving space and clarity, as well as the clothes that really helped her live a little easier. That's what you need to do. When decluttering your wardrobe, you're more than only getting rid of clothes. It's a way to simplify your routine, making it simpler to dress for the morning and easier to identify the clothes you really enjoy as well. As easier to get throughout your day without a burden, and the most important thing is that you could find someone else making use of those clothes rather than keeping them in your closet. Why not give them away to a person who is in need of them? And if you have a closet that has a surplus of clothes that you do not wear, consider asking yourself, if I really have to buy this, if the fit isn't right, if it's uncomfortable, or you haven't worn it in a long time, now is the time to let it go. Because at this point in your life, you should have an outfit that suits you and doesn't weigh you down. If you're viewing this video and find this information useful, please make a second comment to inform me that you're watching. If you're not a subscriber to the channel yet, I'd suggest that you do so and switch on the bell to ensure you don't lose any of the videos. Now let's continue with the third one, expired medication and old toiletries. One of the most omitted kinds of clutter in the home, it's likely that you have lying around in your bathroom cabinets. Today, expired medication and toiletries from the past can accumulate without even realizing it. Perhaps it's a bottle medication for pain that you bought years ago, that you used half of prescription drugs you haven't used, or skin treatments you bought and never used. Prior to that, the cabinets and drawers are stuffed with items which you do not use, or, even more importantly, some may be harmful medications. Become expired due to a cause over time, their effectiveness decreases, and in certain cases, the risk of harm increases. Keeping old prescriptions in case they are needed may appear harmless, but the reality is that if you need the medication in the future, you must consult your physician for an updated prescription that is current, has been prescribed in a timely manner, and is suitable to date and suitable for your needs. However, a large portion people, and appropriate for your current health needs, stored away, not knowing that they have no just to take the space, and adding danger to our lives. And the same goes for toiletries, the old lotion bottle you've never used in a while, this tube of sunscreen which you don't know when the perfume that you no longer wear 10 years ago. These items aren't a stalemate. Many individuals don't know that the skincare, cosmetics and products also have expiration dates. Using products past their prime could cause skin irritation or infection, and we keep them believing that we'll need them in the future. However, when you've never used them for a few months or even years, there's a good chance you won't. Consider Robert as an example. He's 70 and prides himself on maintaining his house in order. However, one day when he was looking for a bandage, he spied the medicine cabinet only to discover that it was stuffed with boxes and bottles that he'd never ever touched for years. They contained used painkillers that were expired, half-used tubes of antibiotic cream, and a prescription for a product he didn't even need. There was nothing but a pile of stuff in the cabinet. When he finally decided to take the time to look through all of it, he was stunned at the amount he'd stored in his cabinets for the event of need. When he finally cleared his shelves, he experienced an immense relief, having the knowledge that what was stored in his cabinet was secure and beneficial. That's the reason a lot of people do not realize. Decluttering the medication cabinets in the toilet isn't about sprucing things down. It's about security and having only what you require, and getting rid of unnecessary items when you get rid of expired medicines to make space for ones that you rely upon. When you dispose of toiletries that are no longer needed, you can reduce your routine to make sure that the stuff you're using is current and efficient. So in case you've never looked over your cabinets or the drawers of your bathroom recently, it's the perfect time to go through your prescriptions, and if they're expired, throw it away safely. When it's a prescription that you don't need, to discard it correctly rather than letting it lie on the counter. When you're looking for toiletries, take a moment to be truthful with yourself about if you've not used it since last year, it's likely that you will never get rid of it and relish the simplicity of only the essentials you really need. 4. Old documents. Documents as well as unopened mail is one of the most frequent kinds of clutter, but among the most difficult to avoid is papers, as it is accumulated over time in piles of tables, the drawers of old folders, and even in boxes that have been stored to protect yourself from a plethora of issues, from old bills, expired warranties, and instructions manuals for devices that you don't own. Quantity of paperwork that is piled up that is a common sight in homes, and before turning 70, you should get it out of the way of your paper clutter. It's not only about occupying the space, but can also create tension. Consider how difficult you are to hunt for the most important document just to go through piles of documents that ought to be thrown out many years ago, or how overwhelming it is that unopened mail accumulates in the corner, creating the impression that you're always behind on something. However, the reality is that a lot of the documents we have do not have any use, and throwing them away could bring a sense of calm. Let's take the case of Barbara. Instance, at age 73, she had a whole filing cabinet stuffed with papers dating back years back to utility bills that were receipts from purchases that were long ago forgotten, and taxes from 1980s. They had been in storage for many years with little reason for keeping these documents. When she tried to locate an important insurance form, she realized how many of the paperwork she had was out of date and useless. It took a bit of moment, but she eventually resolved to go through the entire collection, making sure to only look through the paperwork relevant. By when she had finished, she'd cut down her documents by more than 50%, and for the very first time since her childhood, she was able to look for what she required. And that's what happens when you get rid of your paperwork. You're not only making space at home, but also creating room in your brain by getting rid of the stress which comes from looking through heaps of obsolete documents, as well as boxes filled with items that you'll never use again. And one of the greatest benefits of today's technology is that the most crucial records are accessible digitally, which means that you do not need the original copies of every document. So what do you first? By sorting through your papers, by looking at it with an eye for errors if you've never seen in a while. Most likely you won't require you to rip up old bank statements with expired contracts. Recycle the manuals of appliances that you are using. Only keep those essential legally required medical and financial documents, and sort them out so that you can make it easy to find them in the event you require the information. And also, with regard to mail, you should stop stacking in junk mail, put it out immediately to pay bills their bills, and keep only the important newsletters or magazines which you don't read. You can also cancel subscriptions. The goal is to make sure you only save the documents which are truly useful and get rid of all the other papers. If you're viewing this video and you find this information useful, please make a comment on the 4th page below to inform me that you're watching. And if you're not subscribed to the service yet, I suggest you sign up and switch on the bell to ensure you don't miss any videos. It helps us keep creating great content that will help and encourage you. We'll move on to the 5th kitchen appliances you will use. The kitchen is one of the biggest clutter-prone areas within any house, and it's not difficult to collect items that have little or no purpose. Cabinets are stuffed with non-congruous containers and drawers packed with kitchen utensils that you don't utilize, old pots and pans that are collecting dust. By the time you reach 70, it's the time to clean up the clutter in your kitchen, which is making your kitchen much more cluttered than it ought to be. Many people hang the kitchen appliances due to habit. Maybe they're a set of expensive dishes that you've saved to celebrate a special event that never comes, or small kitchen tools you bought several years ago and haven't used because you may own 3 or 4 variations of the exact tool, such as spatulas, a variety of cups of coffee, or an overflowing container of lids made of plastic with none of the containers matching. But having a kitchen full of unusable or unneeded things doesn't simplify life, it just makes the task more challenging. Consider George's instance. He's aged 76 and resided in the same residence for a long time. The kitchen was stuffed with kitchen appliances and kitchen gadgets that they rarely used. They had toasters, blenders, food processors, and even blenders, which sat unnoticed on plates and glasses that were piled high on cupboards, and drawers packed with kitchen tools that he did not think about buying each when he required something. He was forced to go through his piles of clutter to locate it after stumbling over a stack of unused baking sheets when searching for a pan. He thought enough was enough, so the next day he decided to make a change. He took a look at his kitchen, one area by section, asking the question, do you actually need this? If there was no answer, put it away in the same place as duplicates of that were no longer needed. And pantry products like the bread maker that he purchased some time ago and later given away by when he had completed his kitchen was an entirely different place that was more efficient, organized, and more user-friendly. That's what you need to do. When you let the kitchen appliances that you don't use, you can make a space work with you and not against you. Cooking is easier, and cleaning requires less time, and you're no longer stressed by messy countertops or cabinets that are stuffed with clutter. You do not have to be a cluttered kitchen to cook delicious meals. You only need what you require. Therefore, take a tour of your kitchen and open the cabinets, check the drawers, and consider what the last time that I was using the item. If it's been a while, when it's been sitting in dust or something that is only kept to keep in the case, then it's time to get rid of it, because having a kitchen that's only the things you really use is simply easier to handle, but also makes life easier and more enjoyable. Number 6, sentimental things that no longer are of use to you is one of the toughest things to get rid of. Accumulate as sentimental objects such as that are letters from your friends and family, memorabilia from previous vacations, or boxes that are filled with memories of the past. Objects are emotionally significant, and this is the reason why a lot of individuals struggle with letting them go. But here's an idea to take into consideration before turning 70. It's crucial to think about whether these sentimental items are providing you with happiness or are simply cluttering up your space. Many people keep sentimental objects due to guilt for letting them go. A gift from a family member who passed away or a collection of cards from birthdays that were long past childhood memories from grandkids or children. They are a reminder of significant moments, however they also can become overflowing when they begin piling on top of each other. But the reality is that memories aren't stored within objects but within you, and storing lots of sentimental items doesn't reflect your past, but instead make your present harder to control. Let's take Helen, for instance. She's aged 78 and has kept boxes and boxes full of memories of letters and other souvenirs throughout her life. When she moved to a smaller house, she discovered that she owned an entire storage space that was full of things she had not seen in a long time. Initially, the thought of clearing out anything seemed difficult. What if she lost memories associated with the items? What if letting go felt like the erasing of the past from her past, but eventually she made the decision to let go rather than storing things she decided to pick and choose, and only kept the most important things like her wedding collection, a few messages from friends and family, some small collections of memorabilia which made her smile. The remainder she tossed away. She gave away items that might serve others. She recorded photos of items that she wanted to preserve but wasn't required to preserve physically. As she went through the photos, she was able to feel a rush of joy, which is what a lot of people do not realize, is that decluttering their sentimental possessions does not require letting the past go. It is about allowing yourself to take in the present. It's about taking the good things and let off the rest. The process involves choosing to surround yourself with things which bring joy instead of things that drag you down. If you've been keeping sentimental items that have become much more burdensome rather than blessings, think about it for a while. Are you required to save each letter, every record, every keepsake you have to keep in mind your experiences and people who changed you? Or could you retain the experiences within your heart while clearing spaces in your house? As at this time in your life, the most precious objects aren't ones that collect dust, but rather the things that provide satisfaction and happiness every day. If you're watching this video and find these ideas useful, please post a comment at number 6 below to let me know that you're in the right place. And if not already subscribed, I suggest to sign up and then ring the bell to ensure you don't miss any of our videos, as your help helps us continue making great content to educate and encourage your ideas as we close the video. Take a minute to think about the items in your home that we've covered in our discussion of decluttering prior to when the age of 70 isn't only an exercise in bringing space into your home, but making your home feel more spacious, easier to handle, and more in line with your ideal life to create. Each item you shed doesn't mean you're losing anything. It's just an opportunity to achieve simplicity, clarity, and peace of mind. Which items stuck out to you the most? Which things do you notice? Within your home, perhaps you've already gotten started on getting rid of furniture that is no longer serving, and you've come to realize how much simpler life could be without clutter from outdated papers, kitchen appliances that aren't used, or sentimental things which no longer provide happiness. Or perhaps this video helped you gain an entirely new view of the issue of ID clutter. It's not just an issue of things, but about freedom. We'd like for you to share your thoughts with us. Leave your comment and tell us about what you've learned and how you're planning to apply it in your own life. Your comments matter to us, so please don't be afraid to let us know. Reading your thoughts gives us great inspiration and motivation. If you liked this video and found it useful, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Your feedback to help us keep producing quality content that will inform and encourage you. Thanks for your time and hope to see your comments in our next video.